So what can I do first to try to balance the equation that doesn't have to do with hydrogen and oxygen?
Carbon.
Carbon. What should I do, Josiah?
Triple the CO2.
Okay. That's gonna give me 3 carbon. That's also gonna give me 6 oxygen, 7 oxygen. Okay. What next could I do? Anyone?
Hydrogen.
Yeah, I could make hydrogen match. How could I do that?
4.
Yeah, I can put 4 here. 4 H's makes 8. Uh-oh, I messed up my oxygen now. 3 and 2 is 6. 4 and 1 is 4. That makes 10.
5.
Can you be more specific? I know you know what you're talking about. Be more specific. 5 where?
5 oxygen in the front.
Balanced? Reducible? No, there's nothing. There's only a 1 here, so you can't reduce it. Okay? Now, what does this mean? This is kind of cool. When you're burning propane, if you have a propane oven, propane fireplace, propane grill, whatever the case is, 1 molecule of propane gas requires 5 molecules of oxygen to produce 3 carbon dioxides and 4 H2Os. Now the H2Os are nice, but also this is why you get into like the people that are like green earth and everything else and greenhouse effect. We consumed 5 oxygens and replaced it with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is known as you haven't learned it from my class, but just in general, greenhouse gas, which means it warms up our atmosphere. So people that believe in global warming, I'm not saying global warming isn't real, but I don't think it's the dramatic way that they look at it. They're worried that it's gonna keep going, and by 2050, we're gonna have to live underground type of thing. Don't see that happening whatsoever. But we'll move on. You're getting rid of oxygen, which is something we need to survive, and you're producing carbon dioxide, which is gonna make our planet warmer. You're releasing carbon that was in a form here into the atmosphere where it can do some damage because it can float up pretty high. Yeah, we get some water out of it as steam. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, this is a gas and this is a gas because it comes off as a gas. This is one of the reasons why Barack Obama was really famous with it when he was president. Biden pushed back on it as well. Trump doesn't care, but it doesn't mean that that's going to last forever. He's out of office. Realistically, from what I expect, it's going to swing back Democrat again, okay? Democrats are really, this is a big thing for them, and it's okay. Like, I care about the planet too. I just think sometimes there are some people that realize they can make money off of it, and they really push for that. We're getting rid of oxygen, we're producing less. It's going to warm our planet. So the Obama administration, they specifically were trying to limit people having fireplaces, like stoves, like the things that if you lose power, you can throw logs in it, close it, and you can cook on top of it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Those like metal, like firebox things. They have a little thing that go out like a chimney. It's not like a fireplace, but it's a fire thing. Trying to get rid of it. They pushed back really hard, and the EPA made lots of rules to make it really difficult to do it. And it's funny because that's a poor man's way of heating their house, right? Like if you don't have a lot of money, especially if you don't have electricity and you're on the boonies, how do you heat up your house? With wood from a fireplace. That's how you do it, like when you're not around technology. So all the people in New York are like, yeah, that's great. We don't need that. But it's like you also have electricity everywhere. Not everyone does. During the Kamala Harris vice presidency with Biden, they also were trying to ban gas stoves. They did this in New York, actually, they made it really hard. They said that you weren't allowed to use propane or natural gases unless you paid a certain tax, so they got more money from it, but otherwise you could make no new construction that had gas lines. Why? Because if you burn, this is propane, if you burn propane, you're producing this, and that's gonna ruin our environment. Then, of course, she got a lot of flack, because then when they did a Thanksgiving picture, they showed her kitchen, she had a gas stove. And everyone lost their mind. They're like, oh, rules for us, but not you. Anyway, you can have your arguments that you want either side. There is real data that shows that, of course, burning things like that does create a warmer environment. That is real. So yes, like, the Democrats are right, it does do that. The people that believe that we're gonna die in 50 years because of it, they're just excessive. But people generally always go to the extremes. Either you don't want any guns, or you wanna have like a basement loaded with like 1,000 guns. Like, I mean, that's literally the two extremes. There's very few people that just sit right in the middle, right? Like, I have one gun and I'm fine, right? You know, like, it normally doesn't work that way, okay? So just an extreme thing. I just want you guys to know that just as a rule of thumb, because combustion reactions, that's the reason why people are pushing for electric cars. Because how does your car work? What fuel are you putting in? Gasoline. Hey, let's just do gasoline real quick. That sounds fun. I'm not trying to give you guys like a crazy speech. I just want you to understand how it works. All right, here we go. Gasoline. Octanol is C8H18 plus O2. All right, let's begin. I'm going to warn you in advance that there's going to be a trick on this one at the very end. But the trick is not hard. We actually talked about it. How many carbon, Colin?
8.
How many hydrogen?
18.
How many oxygen? Man, this marker is dead. 8, 18, 2. How about over here? How many carbon? Ian?
1,
Good. How many hydrogen?
2,
How many oxygen?
3,
Anyone but Susan and Josiah. Who wants it? Okay. Jana. What can I do first? What's my rule, at least as far as what I would recommend? The book recommends it too.
Don't do hydrogen.
Yes, save them for the end. Good. So what can I do first? Okay. Cool. What does that do to my oxygen?
17.
Good. Excellent. Thank you, Jenna. Yanina, what can I do next?
Can you do the hydrogen by 9?
Yeah, we could. So we're gonna put a 9 here. That's 18 hydrogen. And now I've got 16 plus 9, I've got 25 oxygen. This is where it gets tricky. If you had to balance it, what would you do?
12O2,
What?
12O2,
Instead of 12, well, 12 makes 24. You're right, I like where you're going. 12 would make 24, I need 25. Break the rule for me real quick. What number would make that work?
1/2,
12 and a half. Right?
Can you do that?
12 and a half times 2 would be 25. Now that we've broken the rule, can we do that?
No.
No. But what could we do now?
multiply everything by 2.
2 octanes plus 25 oxygens makes 16 carbon dioxides and 18 water.
Yeah.
That's how your car runs. It's all steam. It comes out the exhaust. The water is also mixed with carbon dioxide. Yeah. That's why if you ever look at the bottom of the tailpipe, have you ever noticed if you leave it running for a while, you look at the bottom, you see like stuff dripping out of it? Have you ever seen that before? It's water. Now, I wouldn't drink it, because with all the carbon dioxide, it's been carbonated, and not just carbonated, but also any of the other filth from the engine, like the oil and stuff like that, it wouldn't do it. But that's how it works. 2 octane eat up 25 of our oxygen and release 16 carbon dioxide. That's just for 2 molecules. When you burn your car, when you're running it, you're not just burning 2 molecules. So what are we really doing when we run our cars? We're filling our atmosphere with carbon dioxide, which warms the planet. Okay, so which again is obvious. This is one of the reasons why electrical cars have been such a dominant factor for renewable energy. And by the way, I'm not saying renewable energy is bad, but that's one of the reasons it's pushed for so hard, because electricity is used, no side effect. Except that, where does the electricity come from? Oh, buddy. How, electricity, where does it come from? How do we make electricity?
Heat.
Heat from what? Well, if you're doing nuclear, yes, and we are supposed to get one here in Campbell County. How is electricity made in this area? We have half of a good thing. AEP has one thing that's nearby that we utilize, I think, maybe about 20% of our energy from. A dam. There's a dam with water, right, that we keep it back and we let that spin. That generates electricity. Where does the other 80% of our energy, how's it made? No. You guys are overthinking this. You said heat. Where does it come from?
Natural resource things,
Which are?
natural gases.
Which we're doing what to make the energy? Oh! So even and this is one thing that people don't think about. Even if you're making stupid electricity, how are you making it? Maybe not with octane, but you're making it with what? Another natural gas. Which means by making electricity, you're still releasing carbon dioxide. The only way it works, which is why they push for it so much, solar panels, wind turbines, nuclear. Those are the only options that can generate electricity without changing this. Now, do you understand why they push so much for that renewable energy? The goal is to get rid of carbon emissions. That's what they call this, carbon emissions, because it will make our planet warmer and do other things. There is one other thing that they're not thinking about, though. If you have a warmer planet, what things like warm?
Plants.
What do plants do?
Oxygen.
They give us oxygen, but they what? They don't release it.
You use carbon dioxide.
The planet warms up. Now, unless you're just gonna asphalt the whole planet, which people, right? You could talk about how we build our cities and stuff like that. As long as you have a rural community of different plants, warm weather makes the plants happy, and they also absorb that CO2 that we burn. As long as you keep plants on the planet, you're fine. If you get rid of the plants, that's fine too. Because do you know where most of our CO2 is absorbed from?
The ocean.
Where? What specifically? You're right.
Like algae, microorganisms.
More CO2 is absorbed from algae than it is from all Canada, like the Canada forest and stuff like that, or the tundra, etc. Just something to keep in mind. Anyway, this is not me trying to make you people that are EPA friendly or EPA against. I'm just sharing with you information that you will hear in college because I think it's important. It is the question of the day. Burning gas. There used to be a time, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to make you wish that the old days existed now. But there was a time where each family had one car. So if dad went to work, you were trapped at home, right? Like that's how it worked. If you were a stay-at-home mom and you had kids, you didn't have another car. If you were really rich, maybe you had two, but that was it. Everyone had one car. So if you had to do something, dad had to take off work, and I'm not saying that's great, but that's what you did. There was a time when every family had one car. Fast forward to today. Yes, there's a few more people, yes, that's fine, you can consider that. But how many cars are generally in most households now? At minimum, 2. If you have a kid, 3, and I've seen I've seen a lot more. I've seen as many as like 10, that's a whole different story. But for most families, especially if you have a larger family, maybe 4. Right? Maybe the siblings share, but there might be 4 cars. What does that mean? More cars on the road does what? This is a real problem, but I don't think it's a real problem that's going to murder us. I think that we have to find other ways to do it. Or maybe just go through it. One of the biggest things they say in the cities, have you ever been driving on the road and seen a diamond on the road? Do you guys know what that diamond means? You guys take driver's ed, right? What does diamond mean? HOV lane, what does it mean? What is it for? Carpooling. Because we're gonna give you guys a free lane that you can only use if you're carpooling, because we wanna incentivize people sharing a ride to go to work. Because if you get 3 people together and you go in a hub lane, instead of 3 cars, there's only 1 car. Now, maybe that will give you a little bit more insight into why, and this is still, I mean, it's a hard thing to solve. How do you solve this? Because also, once everyone has cars, what are you gonna do? So you can only have 1 car? Like, that doesn't work. I mean, I guess if you live in a communist nation, maybe that would work, but there's no way that's gonna work in a free society. What? Stop. Anyway, I mean, yes, but no. Let's not get into politics. This is not the politics class. You guys get that next year, Mrs. Alley. Okay? Any questions? I'm just trying to make this somewhat fun. I don't want you just bouncing questions the whole time. Claire got here and she's already bored. She also missed the cool part, so that's her fault. Maybe I'll do it right on her desk next time. And we'll have her hair like down, like right in front of it, you know? Alright. Cool. Let's do one more and then we'll call it a day. We already did this one. Well, we didn't do this one, but close enough.
I need to keep checking that, because I'm not checking. I like saw that I checked yesterday. Glad you did.
Alright, here we go. One last rule that you need to consider when balancing equations. I gotta remember to get those matches. 8th graders are gonna take that and eat it. 8th graders will do anything. No. Alright. What if I have aluminum nitrate